Hello everyone, how's it going this evening? We've got another video for you guys here today. Today we've got the 2008 Ducati S2R1000. So let's take a peek at it here. We're going to do a walk around and exhaust note like we usually do. Oh, there was some pull to that right there. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on the channel here, and if you like these videos, make sure to like and subscribe. I know I always forget when I'm watching the videos. I always do. I'm watching and I forget to hit the like button, even if the video's awesome or something I want to help the creator. I tend to forget, so I figured I would put this at the beginning of my videos here. And yeah, if you like these videos, let's grow the channel together. Start up here in the front. This has the cowl in the front, so it's got a matching. So you've got the racing stripe. It's like an off-center stripe. So if you look from the back here, see how it is off-center, and it's got a bit of a curve to it here, which is pretty cool. I do like the black and white scheme on these. This is an 08, so it has the full trellis. You can see there, and it has a traditional headlight. There is no LED or anything. I don't believe in this guy, or I haven't put one in anyway. And stock blinkers as far as I can tell. And we'll move down here. This is the paint on this is very clean, you guys can tell. The forks are in good shape for an 08. It's got about 13,000 miles on it. And we've got dual front Brembo disc brakes. Check it out. On this model, there's the Brembos right there. Now I will say the Brembo calipers on this are different than newer ones. They respond differently. They bite a little different. Of course, being a little older, being an older model. And, well, compared to the Speed Triple back there, which we will do a different video on, these brakes are not as bitey, and they don't stop as quick. There's no ABS in this bike either. So this is a raw motorbike, let's say, right? This is a traditional motorcycling experience, let's say. It is air-cooled and oil cooled. There's your oil cooler right there. Obviously no radiator, so it's nice and clean. The newer Ducati Monsters, the bigger ones anyway, like this is a 1000. The newer bigger ones, the 1200s and 821s, are water cooled. And let's move on back to the bars here. This has CRG bar ends on it. Very nice. Bar end mirrors, excuse me. On both sides. I've done, let's see here. I haven't bled the front brake here because it's been working good, but bled the clutch. This is a dry clutch. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I bled the rear brake. They both work pretty good. Sorry about the, if there's cow sounds in the background from the field over there somewhere, but there is some cow action or something, chasing around or running. Don't know. All right. So we put the RNG frame sliders on here, as you can see, and same thing on the other side, of course. This bar goes all the way through the motor here. I don't know if you can kind of see in there. See if you can take a peek in there, take a look at it. There it is. See right there. That runs all the way through, and right over the top of the between the cylinders here, and the bar runs all the way through. And it replaces the stock one, and RNG gives you the new one. And I fortunately have not had to test these yet, but I'll probably do a separate video about crash protection. And I've got crash protection today that just came in for the other bike, so we'll do probably a video on the other bike about crash protection over there. But let's moving on to the dry clutch. I've done an oil change in this as well, and it says to use Advance, Shell Advance. I used Shell Rotilla T4 in this, the non-synthetic, since I suppose it doesn't really matter in this bike because this is dry clutch, but the T4 is JSO MA2 rated, so you can use that in motorcycles if you so desire, even ones with wet clutches. But this is a dry clutch, so This is a just regular motor oil running through the motor, not getting any clutch shavings or debris in it. So you could probably run regular motor oil in this if you wanted to, like you could with some of the BMWs, like the 1150R that we talked about a little while ago. That one had a separate clutch fluid. So let's check the oil while we're right here. There's your sight glass, and we will tip this up. We'll take a peek here. You want it to be as level as you can get it. That's just about level right there. You kind of feel the balance point. And the spike is a little warmed up, but not totally warmed up. So it looks like here, the level is, it looks like it add a little bit. It's pretty close though. It's right between the two notches. Right about, let's see, where's balance point? That's balance point right about there. So I could add just a tad. Make sure the kickstand is down there. I'll use the camera to take a peek at it. Make sure it's not digging into the gravel there too much. Nope, that looks good. And let's move over here. It's got the stock pegs. I will say on this bike that the heel guard here is not long enough. So when you go to put your heel on here, let's say you're on the balls of your feet right here, up on your toes, right? And you got your heel coming back here like this. This isn't tall enough, so your boot will kind of hit back here or be floating in the air. So I would, if you're going to use this seriously for like serious riding, I would get a bigger heel guard, or yeah, I think you call it a heel guard. Like this one here is maybe a little bigger. Looks like there's been some passengers on this at some point. I haven't had any, but see it's scratched up there. And they come down too, but obviously, see it's pretty scratched up. There's been some passengers on here at some point in the past. And yeah, I would elongate that. Let's see, what do we miss here? This is a Showa front end, right? Yes, Showa front end, front forks, and a Sachs rear shock. And is there a gas cartridge on this? There is not, I don't believe, no. But it is fully adjustable, but I haven't adjusted anything because it rides really nice for me, to be totally honest with you guys. Got a little carbon fiber accent here, little panel, has the name, the S2R1000 right there. And let's move down to the wheels. Looks like I could give this a little bit of a clean here. She's getting a little dusty. I haven't ridden it a whole lot lately because I've got the speed trip I've been riding. This is a rear spools here, but it goes through the axle. So these double as axle protectors. Awesome, right? So if you go down, you make contact right here first, protect the axle bolt and such a bit. Also doubles as spools to get the bike up off the ground for maintenance. But what you cannot do is the rear tire will not spin when you're up on the spools here because the bar goes through the axle and this is tight up against the axle, right? So when it's up on spools, this does not spin. So that means you can't do your chain maintenance very well because it doesn't move. So if you want to do that, you have to get a single-sided swing arm, like pit bull lift with a bar that goes through inside that lets you spin. Or you can do it like cheap way, let's say, right? And put a pipe through that's a smaller diameter than the axle and use a standard lift, like a pipe that comes off the sides of the axle there. And you can lift it and spin it that way if you want to do it that way. But make sure your pipe is strong enough it isn't going to bend under the weight of the motorcycle. All right. Going down to the exhaust. I'd never heard of QD before this Ducati. So there's QD exhaust, made over in Europe, as far as I understand. And these exhausts, let's see if we can get a shot underneath, they are not cheap. When I looked them up, it's like $1,400 or $1,500 for one of these exhaust boxes. And they are tuned over there for the bike, as far as I understand. So to order it, you're talking, $14, $15 to order it. And then whatever you're gonna pay for installation, I don't know what we're talking, $1,800, $1,900. It's not a cheap exhaust. Got a little take protector here I put on, the Puig, to protect from scratches from your jacket, which is good. You got the cowl back here, which we looked at earlier. This is removable, and underneath is a seat, which I don't know if I can, I'm not going to pop it off here, but underneath there's a seat, I believe, right? Yeah. Yeah, there is. Some Ducati, some Monsters don't have a seat underneath, which is odd. But that happens sometimes. Here's your single-sided swing arm. On some models, I'm sorry. Here's your single-sided swing arm here. Going into rear axle, and single-sided brakes in the back, of course. Those are Brembos as well. You can look at the, could show you the symbol, but it's got the little C, little Brembo symbol. And I had these pads checked by my mechanic. He said the pads are looking good, the sprockets are looking pretty good. This bike is basically good to go. So I think I'm gonna be hanging on to this for a while. I'll probably sell it next year. I'm gonna run the speed trip a little more. But this is definitely like a raw motorcycling experience compared to the new bikes with traction control and ABS. And if you want that, this is the perfect bike for that, because I love the handling on this bike. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to show you guys the brake pads if I can. Let's get underneath here. You can see in there. So hope that focused, because I'm not short enough to go down there and see if that was looking in there. But anyway, the brake pads are good on this guy. And what else we got here that we haven't talked about? Ah, yes, the bars. So the bars on this, we're going to do the exhaust note in a second here too. This is an aftermarket, see if you can read that. This is a Rizoma aftermarket bar. Great bars. They feel great. Like, I like the grips on them, and I like the bend to it. If I could, I would raise it right here about an inch or a little more to get the bars closer to me back. But if you notice something here, the cables are too short. See, it's kind of losing focus here. See the line right there? It goes into a splitter, and there's basically not much room there. So you'd have to probably get new cabling on this. Here's the clutch cable, which comes out right here. You see it right there? And then comes down and ends up right here. There's a little bit of slack here you could maybe work with, but there ain't much. Maybe you could eke an inch out, maybe. But I don't know. You'd have to, bust the cable ties and such and work with it. This, though, is kind of the troubling thing. Maybe you could, like, rotate that down right there, down to the bottom, and kind of work with it. Maybe you get an inch. I don't know. But so if you want to get these bars higher on these Ducati 1000s, it's going to be pretty tough to do, in my opinion, but you could maybe get an inch out of it. All right, let's get her started up. There's some little niggles I've got there, but I'm kind of nitpicking because this is a really good bike. I got a good deal on it, and I've enjoyed it. I already warmed this up a little bit here. Something I've noticed with this bike is sometimes when it's been warmed up just slightly, see it says low because the engine isn't like warm. It's like sometimes hard to start. Gotta give a little gas. See, you have to give it like a little gas. So this is a dry clutch, right? So let's go over and take a listen. It sounds like someone's banging a pipe around in there. So I'll go clutch in and then clutch out so you can hear the difference. So this is clutch out. Interesting, right? So let's go take a look at the exhaust, take a listen to the exhaust here. Sorry if the camera angle is weird. All right. I think that is a pretty incredible sounding exhaust there. That the dry clutch, I'll talk about the dry clutch more in my ride review, but I do enjoy the dry clutch. It's a very interesting experience. Let's put it that way. So I do enjoy it. I think everyone should ride one of these or a version of these with a dry clutch to experience it. It's different. It's a little grabby. It's kind of, you have to wrestle the machine, right? It's not just the way the machine is, the Ducati. It's not like a smooth kind of like my BMW S1000 was. That kind of just, you will it where you want it to go when it goes. This is a bit more of an experience, let's say, but it's a good one. It's cool. It's different. I enjoy it. Let's see here. I think we are just about ready to wrap this one up because this video is getting way longer than I thought it was going to. There's a lot more to talk about in this bike. There's just a lot more to go, my experience with it and such, and I think we will save it for the ride review I'll probably be the week after this video comes out. But I do enjoy this bike a lot, and I think this bike would be a great, like if you've already had a bike, this would be like a good second or third bike. I don't think I'd use this as a beginner bike. I mean, you could, but it's pretty quirky. And the way that the clutch grabs, and it doesn't really walk itself out of neutral like you'd want a beginner bike to do, at least in my opinion. But man, this bike looks great, doesn't it? It is a great looking machine. So I think we'll leave this there. If you have any questions about this, about the Ducati, go ahead and leave them in the comment, and I will answer every question that you got. So we're still working on getting this channel monetized, so make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, you'd like to see more content like this. So thanks for watching, you guys, and I appreciate you as always. We will see you next week for more Moto Mondays.